Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You can get a job in the Middle East simply by trying or by magic, through others, or by a fluke. Remember that competition is everywhere. Some here, some there, but bam! Loy Macedo is the best.
All right, a bit of UAE news and UAE updates. So I'll just give you my thoughts, and you can let me know what you think. Now, this one I'll put the link down below. Okay. There were a couple of news sites that spoke about this. It was even in Israeli papers, but I don't know. Later on, some of them retracted or removed this article. So the question is this real news? Is it fake news? But then again, like they say, there's no smoke without fire. Okay, so I'll read out and I'll give my thoughts in between. And you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. 5,000 Israelis obtain UAE citizenship within past 3 months. Now this was dated July 3rd, 2021. Now, when I got it, at first I thought it was one of those fake rumor mills. Okay. But then as I started to see more and more news pick it up, and there are a couple of news agencies that I trust a little bit, kind of realized, okay, there might be a possibility to this. And I'll give the drawbacks also, okay? Plus points and drawbacks. So 5,000 Israelis obtained UAE citizenship within the past 3 months, after amending the law on granting citizenship in the Persian Gulf Arab country, according to the report. Now, citing sources, the website of Emirates Leaks revealed on Thursday a wide turnout of Israelis under the cover of investment in the UAE, especially in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Okay, now, let's get one thing clear. Why is UAE opening its doors to Israel? Why is it not opening its doors to other countries? It's very simple. Where the money is, that's where you want benefits, right? And Israel is a very powerful gateway to open relationships with the United States. So when they start building a relationship with Israel, by default you have a strong relationship with the United States. And when you have that, nobody can touch you. Just look at, for example, South Korea. Look at Taiwan. Even China is not ready to jump because Taiwan has, it's massive support from US. So there is a lot of benefit that UAE gets by inviting Israel. Okay. And, it's a very powerful ally. Not only that, if you have money, who wouldn't open their doors for you? See, now, ask yourself, why UAE is not opening its doors for Africa? Or, not Africa, means in the sense, they're not like all Africans come in, or Bangladesh, or for that matter, even India. They're not saying, no, you're not allowed. They're not saying, don't come. They're saying, if you have the money, you come. However, the number of people who come is a big question. Now, the only reason we are talking so much about Israel is because the opportunity just opened up. Okay. After some time, it'll reach a point of, diminishing returns. Like initially, when a new product is launched, people go and buy it like crazy. They sell 1 million units, whatever, in a month. It goes on. After some time, the sales start to decline. Then from 1 million, it comes down to 800,000, comes to 500,000, 200,000. That is why these smartphone companies keep bring out new models. And they kill their own product rather than the competition kills them. So in the same way, UAE, it just opened its doors for Israel. So obviously, there'll be a floodgate. But now, having said that, what I suspect, the people of Israel, see, I've interacted with very few. not interact with many. I can tell you one thing. Israel is very inclusive. They're very proud of their culture, very proud of their country. They are technologically very advanced. Very advanced. You can just Google search. Israel is, I don't know, miles apart. It's a mystery how. So, these people are not going to revoke their citizenship for any other country. Forget UAE. Any country. They'll not do that. Unless there is, individual reason. 99% of Israelites would never revoke their citizenship. It's like asking an Indian, would you revoke your citizenship for Bangladesh or Pakistan? I don't think they're going to do that. For that matter, many Pakistanis may not want to do it, but it's a far better benefit than having a Pakistani passport. See, here it not only comes down to loyalty of the country, it comes to benefits that the passport or citizenship offers. Why do you think so many American citizens never revoke their citizenship unless, of course, they had done something hanky-panky? People want the most powerful passports in the world, not just for travel, for the government benefits and so many other things. When you compare UAE versus Israel, Israel's passport is high up, and it's a downgrade to go down to UAE. Okay, don't get me wrong, don't misquote me. I'm not saying UAE is or Emiratis are bad, no. But the benefits of being an Israelite is far greater than being an Emirati. Okay, let's face that. And UAE is the one who approached Israel. Israel wouldn't give a damn. Okay, so, and look, for those of you who are hating on UAE, let's put ourselves in that position. We as human beings, at least me or you, we wouldn't mind making rich friends. We wouldn't mind making powerful friends. Say someone from the government, someone from the ruling family, someone who is a multi-millionaire or billionaire says, I want to be your friend. You want to tell him, fuck off? We might say no to poor people because poor people want something from us. But rich, you'll always be like, yes, why not? It's a human psychology, man, and UAE has to do whatever it can to survive. What does UAE have? All those years of bragging, largest man-made islands, and all became flop. Largest tower, and largest mall, and largest buildings, and largest. People got bored of it. And today with social media and internet, you can't bullshit anymore. And on top of that, you have COVID, so UAE has to survive, right? So they're thinking far ahead for their own benefit. Now, it's not like they took in refugees. I'm pretty sure the Israelites they focused on are high network individuals. People who are powerful. And 5,000 is small, man. The population of UAE is 10 million. So what is 5,000 with a population of 10 million? Okay. The sources underline that UAE authorities allow the acquisition of citizenship for investors and entrepreneurs without the need to give up their original citizenship, which I told you. It's just for investment. It's for money to roll in. With an Emirati citizenship, the Israelis will be able to cross the Persian Gulf and Arab countries without a prior visa, said the sources. UAE demographic landscape, then they are saying, will be dysfunctional. Now this is something I absolutely agree. They said it'll be dysfunctional in 50 years. See, why do I agree with this? Okay, think about the UK. If you had thought of the UK, the British Empire, you would see all a bunch of white dudes and, Queen Victoria and all the white, would you like a cup of tea, the snobs and, the huffy puffy, bearded this way, the marshals and all that. The typical Englishman. But today, if you go down to UK, you'll see a Sardar. His name is Gul Prasad, and if you talk to him, you would assume that he would say, Bale Bale, what? Ki Paji and this and that. And instead, he say, how are you going, mate? Would you like a cup of coffee? You begin to think like, fuck, what? When you see a Sardar talking like a Brit with a British accent, when you see a African talking like, would you like to come to Nottingham? When you meet an African, you think, or when you meet Ramu, You meet Ramu, he will say, you want to come coffee, eh? South Indian. I'm South Indian. But instead he says, hey, would you like to come to Manchester for football? So whether Chinese, whether African, whether American, whether Pakistani, I met a Pakistani. It's so funny. I met this Pakistani guy. He has a British passport. He's saying, I fucking hate. He was telling her, seriously, I fucking hate all these Pakis who fucking come down to our country. They fuck it up. So I told him, aren't you Pakistani? No, my grandparents were, but I am a British citizen. And I hate this fucking Paki, pedophiles, and he was going on and on. Just imagine. So yes, you'll say cultural diversity and inclusion and this and that and mix, but it destroys the unique fabric of that society. Today, if you say UK, you don't feel it's UK anymore. You feel it's I don't know. You feel it's high. You go to a Chinatown part of it, you feel it's Chinese. You go to Indian part of it, it's Indian. You go to Punjabi part, like even in Canada, there is like so many Punjabis and all that. You don't feel you're in Canada at all. So yes, in a way, the world has become a small place, but it's destroying the identity that was there. Today, okay, fine, you might say it's a good thing, but I'll tell you that uniqueness goes. Emiratis have had this Emirati culture where they offer you tea. They're real Emiratis, I'll tell you, are amazing. They're very loving, they're very sweet, they're very kind, they're very God-fearing, they're very courteous, they're very simple, they're very humble. The real Emiratis, hard-working people. But that was the Emiratis of the 40s, 50s, 60s. They were like, descendants of the pirates or whatever, smugglers or whatever. But they were amazing human beings, yeah. Even the desert nomads, they were really amazing. However, with the money and times that have changed, today our Emiratis are, I don't know, they become a bit whitened. Yes, they become like whitewashed, All the Emiratis are trying to look whiter. Yes, that's my baby. They're trying to look whiter than they are. They're trying to look fairer than they are. They're trying to look modern than they are. Today it's not uncommon to see an Emirati in a Range Rover or a Bugatti or flexing a Rolex or a Rolls Royce with a cheetah in the car or a fucking lion or, okay, not all Emiratis, but flexing their wealth and showing that they are famous and rich, and they want to show UAE as a modern place. Oh, there is no normal taxi, there is, it's like a large drone. It's like a drone taxi. Oh, the cops are flying through the air, which they anyway gave up after it crashed 2-3 times. These guys fly through the air, and they have girls who go with the, what do you call that, the Segway, no? Girls who, what's wrong with that BMW? Mercedes? It went and nearly hit the bushes. Whether you plan to hit me or what. Fuck, that was crazy. It's like instead of going in the middle of the road, came at the side and almost rammed into the bushes. Crazy. Anyway, so what was I saying? And came very close to me. So what was I saying? See, came all the way till here. I don't know, either sometimes these people are texting on the phone or something. I don't know what they're doing. Okay, assassination. Okay, so what was I saying was, so see, the main problem here is when you have so many people coming and mixing and you lose your identity. It just goes away. And given the fact today, social media and TikTok and the importance of speaking in English for business, things have changed so much. I mean, if you look at the time of Baba Zayed, Sheikh Zayed, the founding father of UAE, and today, no way, man. UAE has Yeah, they'll say UAE has come a long way, but with the good comes the bad, right? And there are many Emiratis who are not happy with this, but they can't talk about it on social media due to the risks. There are plenty of risks, plenty. Okay, don't think you can just speak. UAE is not one of those countries where you can just voice your displeasure against the government and all. And in a way it's good, because otherwise there would be a mess. Case in point, look at Egypt. Look at all these Arab countries where they allow you freedom of expression. These people shouldn't be given, personally speaking, they shouldn't be given freedom and democracy at such a large scale. They will just misuse it. Best example, look at what is happening in India. Total fucking mess. Or the classic example is USA. Fucking jobless idiots. Transgender and what? Black Lives Matter and anti-vaxxers and this and that. And so the nonsense never ends. So yeah, UAE is not what it used to be. A former advisor to the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi warned about the repercussions of UAE's demographic change, questioning the loyalty of those who have recently obtained UAE citizenship. There's no loyalty. It's just money. It's business. Simple as that. Like so many expats, when they are in UAE, they keep saying, oh, UAE, my country, and they wave the national flag and national day. Fine, all that is good. The day you lose your job, the day you don't have money, fucking throw you out. Then UAE, my country, you'll go back to India and, my country. What country? You have money, everyone accepts you. You don't have money, they'll tell you fuck off. For that matter, even your own country, you don't have money. Yeah, they have other shit to worry about, not you. Hundreds of those who obtained UAE citizenship recently do not speak Arabic, and their children do not make an effort to learn it. They will not. Unless, of course, they have interest in the language. And have nothing to do with Islam and know of the customs, traditions, values of the Emirates, and were given the right to regain their original nationality. We do not know the extent of the loyalty to the state, Abdul Khalik Abdullah said on Twitter. This is a fact. This is a fact. Because when you have people who do not know the language, the religion, of course, check what is happening in the UK with these Muslims who are coming down from Pakistan, Afghanistan, shouting and saying, we want Sharia law, and oh, fuck, they destroy. Sometimes these guys, where they come from, throw back in them to the same zoo. You left Sharia law to experience Western freedom and culture, and now you're bringing back the same bullshit. Abdullah, professor of political science, added that UAE's demographic landscape in the next 50 years will be strange and dysfunctional, which is very true. He's put his Twitter handle, I'll put the screenshot, 30th June 2021. Earlier this year, UAE announced plans to grant foreign citizenship as a part to stimulate the economy amid the coronavirus pandemic, which is true because UAE is, I told you, its funds are nearly bankrupt. And the worst part is you give such big salaries to Emiratis, 10 times more than what you'll pay an Asian. Of course, they will want to live that standard, no? Where they are saving, they are bloody spending and enjoying, living like kings. So the government is fucked. Now, you cannot go back on what you have promised. Then there will be a fucking civil war. So you have to maintain, no? The problem is UAE itself is inculcating a kind of loyalty based on money. Why do you think so many Emirati locals are very quiet and want to continue working in UAE? Big money. You'll not get it anywhere. Where you think a UAE local will get $10,000 after graduating college? You think they'll get $10,000 in India? $10,000 in US? Who the fuck is going to give them? Only in UAE. The Persian country, which is home to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, said last November it plans to overhaul its religious laws, including loosening alcohol restrictions, allowing unmarried couples to cohabitate, which you know is truth. The UAE has already begun to move in the direction of dismissing its deep-rooted Islamic and Arabic values by normalizing relationship with the occupying regime of Israel, a move that was condemned by Muslims across the world. This is something that will be part of the Arab Islamic world forever. Even non-Islamic, like Pakistan and all that, they don't support Israel. Several Arab countries, including UAE and Bahrain, normalized their ties with Israel under US brokeraged agreements last year when US President Donald Trump was in office. Money talks. Last month, the former US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the US assassination of Iran's top anti-terror General Qasem Soleimani, a revered commander across the Muslim world, was a deal for the sale of US F-35 fighter jets to UAE, and they were connected with the normalization of deals. They sold the weapons because US has to sell weapons in order to get money. That is why Saudi, Qatar, and UAE, they keep bidding and buying more and more weapons because US feels very happy. Oh, you're buying from us. You're a good customer. You're giving us billions. We love you very much. So end of the day, it's all a relationship of money. It's not religion. It's not, oh, we love you. And in fact, for that matter, your own relationship, your own relatives, they will love you much more if you have money. Don't have money, they'll be like, you're a waste of space. The Israeli regime, a new foreign minister arrived in UAE on Tuesday, marking the highest level visit by an Israeli official to the Persian Gulf country since the two normalized their relation. Speaking at the inauguration of the Israeli embassy in Abu Dhabi, Yair Lapid told diplomats it was a historic moment. In acknowledgement of Benjamin Netanyahu, Lapid said the former Israeli Prime Minister was the architect of the Abraham Accords and worked tirelessly to bring them about. However, Lapid was reportedly given a subdued reception in UAE as the website of the Persian Arab Gulf country WAM agency didn't immediately carry on the report on his arrival, and his counterpart Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed wasn't at the airport to meet Israeli Foreign Prime Minister. Well, you obviously have to distance yourself. You have to play your cards right. Okay. Israel would like to tout this as a historic visit, but evidently the UAE wants to keep it as a low profile and treat it like any other visit, Abdullah told the American Economic News Bloomberg on Tuesday. The UAE's relationship with Israel is there, but it isn't a time to brag about Gaza, especially after Gaza, the bombing. He added, referring to Israel's aggression against Gaza Strip, which more than a month ago killed 250 Palestinians and besieged the enclave and injured 2,000 others. See, look, at the end of the day, UAE has to do whatever it can to think about its future, to think about money, to think about its economy. It can't go around on values of Islam and values of Arabs. When you don't have money, nobody gives a fuck. People are ready to do anything when it comes to, in fact, you and me, we are ourselves. If we don't earn money, we are ready to do anything, right? Then why do you have to crucify a country? I don't think UAE is doing anything wrong. It's doing what it needs to survive. However, the reason why it landed where it is today is because of the stupid decisions that they took. So like they say, everything has a price to pay. Every action has a reaction. So what is happening with the UAE? Anyway, these are my thoughts. You let me know if I'm right or wrong. Love to know what you have to say. And this is me signing off. You guys take care.